Allies Amplified is a live series by IME Inc. that highlights powerful stories of LGBTQIA plus allies.
Not only are they sharing their stories, but also their journeys and insights to foster inclusivity, support, and most of all, friendship. And now it's time to turn it over to our host at the African Butterfly, Nimade. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Nimade Bewu, and I am your host today for our new series called Allied Amplified. This is a great new series brought to you by I Am Me Inc. Before we get started, there's so many things to fill you in on. So let's start with who is I Am Me Inc. In case this is your first time joining us, I want to tell you a little bit about us. It's an organization that was formed to offer safe social spaces with programs that uplift and unify the LGBTQ plus community. It's a space where you can be you and build positive social connections. The board believes that together we can heal and collectively eliminate discrimination one person at a time by educating them about our community. So, who am I? Well, my name, as was mentioned earlier, is Nimade Bewu, or if you follow me on social media channels, it's at That African Butterfly. I do a lot in the social media space. I am also the founder and owner of African Butterfly Enterprises, and that's where I work with different brands and companies to help them with their social media. And I also do trainings and produce content for them as well, whether it's reels or videos or doing shows like these. So we've partnered together to bring you this great new series called Allies Amplified. It's going to be a live series highlighting powerful stories of members of the LGBTQ plus IA community, their allies sharing their journeys, and basically just trying to help foster inclusivity and support. Now, for each episode, before we get started, we're going to share with you some different facts and information about whatever our topic is for the day. So, today, our topic is Journey to Allyship. So, I'm going to share with you 5 key facts about allyship. One, allies play a critical role in LGBTQ plus acceptance. Research shows that having allies, whether it's friends, families, or coworkers, can greatly improve the mental health and well-being of LGBTQ plus IA individuals, making them feel more accepted and supportive. Two, allyship requires active support. Being in the LGBTQIA plus being a ally means more than just passive support. It involves actively advocating for equal rights, speaking out against discrimination, and working to create inclusive spaces in personal, professional, and social environments. Three, allyship helps combat discrimination. People within the LGBT, you know what? So saying LGBTQ plus IA every time is going to be a mouthful for you and me. So we're going to say within the LGBT community and know that that includes everyone. So people in the LGBT community, people face significant levels of discrimination, including in workplaces, healthcare, and education. Allies are crucial in challenging and changing these systems by using their privilege to advocate for policies and practices that protect these individuals. Four, educating yourself is key to effective allyship. A major part of being a good ally is taking the time to educate yourself on issues, terms, and experiences. This reduces the emotional labor of those in the LGBTQ community to explain their struggles and promotes informed, respectful support. And five, intersectionality is important in allyship. Individuals and people, LGBTQ plus people can experience overlapping forms of discrimination based on race, gender, and socioeconomic status. True allyship, true allyship takes into account these intersections and advocates for equality across all marginalized identities. So those are some important facts to know. And those are some reasons why being an ally is so important. So our first episode today is about the journey to allyship. And to have that conversation with me, I'm so excited to have Latoya Baker. She is the membership director of I Am Me Inc. Thank you so much for joining me, Latoya.
Thank you for having me, Namade. Hi everyone. As Namade said, I am Latoya Baker. I am one of the founders of I Am Me Inc. And I am so happy, Namade. I just want to say thank you for coming aboard and actually accepting to do this allies program because it is so much needed. This program is really needed because we need to basically shed light on what is going on in the communities and why it's so important for us as allies to step up.
Absolutely. And can you tell everybody just a little bit about you and what you do with the board?
Yeah, so I am I'm one of the five founders of IME Inc. I am actually one of three of the allies of IME Inc. And basically, how IME came about, Pierce, the president of the organization, she actually came to me and brought it to me, and she basically told me if I wanted to be a part of this organization that she wanted to start. And I was so on board with it, because I seen how the difficulties in the community is is being faced in the community, all the difficulties, and I just wanted to be a part in fixing the issues. So yes. But we had started this in 2020 and we've been going full force ever since.
I love that. So what really inspired you to become an ally? Because there's lots of people, right, who they're like, yeah, maybe I know somebody who's a part of that community, or maybe I'm okay with it, but I'm not going to be vocal about it because I don't want
Mhm.
people to know, like, if I'm not a part of it, I don't need to have my voice out there. What really
Mhm.
inspired you to be a vocal ally for the community?
Okay, and that's a great question. When I didn't know I was an ally, when, just to put a label on it. I was raised around individuals from the LGBT community, and I looked at them as just regular human beings, right? So, and as I grew up and started seeing the hatred that they do face, it made me want to speak up more and just be like, hey, this is what you're doing is not right. No, these are human beings just like we are, and they should get the same respect as you will want, as the heterosexual community will want. So that's how that came about. I didn't know what an ally was when I was younger because I've been around it all my life.
Mm. Yeah, so it's second nature. It's interesting having to put labels on things that you feel should just be, isn't this what everyone does? Like, why is
Right,
this a
right.
whole thing? But unfortunately, it is because there are so many people who don't do that.
Right.
Were there any pivotal moments in your life that sort of like deepened your commitment to advocacy for this community?
Just just a little back story. As I was I was a manager, assistant manager, to a artist that is a part of the LGBT community, and just seeing how other people would react to her or treat her, so it made me just like, this is not right, or even going into different rooms, they wouldn't want her there. So it's just not right, right? So that's why I was like, somebody has to step up and speak up. That's why we, as us as allies, we have to step into these rooms where some people from the community cannot step into and speak up for them and just advocate.
Mhm. I absolutely agree with that. And I mean, I don't know about you, but for me, being a woman and being a Black woman plays a huge role for why
Right,
I'm such an advocate of it,
right.
because I feel like we're also in a marginalized group that needs that advocacy. And there's that, intersectionality I talked about a little bit earlier. There's so
Hmm.
many interlocking and interwoven
Right,
areas. And I feel like as a Black person who experiences oppression and judgment and
right.
things purely because of my race, I don't know how to not step up and
Right,
defend someone else when I see them experiencing it just because of their sexuality.
right.
Is that something that you think plays an extra role for you as well?
I believe it definitely plays a extra role. As you said, you are you're African American female. You know, so we have multiple strikes against us as well. You know, and just to see how some people may perceive us as being African American females. You know, we know what is right and we know what is wrong. But some people don't recognize what's right and what is wrong. So that is why we need to step up and let them know. Because sometimes people's just ignorant, you know, to the fact. And that's not necessarily saying that I'm just saying like you're stupid or something like
Right.
that. It just means you're just uneducated, right? So it's just
Mhm.
a lot of people out here that's really just uneducated to the fact of what's going on in the communities, and just people just want to be themselves. You know, they just want to be happy and be themselves. People, and some heterosexual people, they just don't understand that. But is they just don't, they're not educated. That's what I'm gonna say. But it's a
Mhm.
difference when we are sitting here, we're doing the ally amplified, and we're trying to teach, you know, what it is to be an ally, and just have some people understand what it is to be an ally, and we're giving this information and they're not perceiving it. You know what I mean? So now we're
Mhm.
talking about something different. Are you not teachable at this moment? You know, because it's not that hard. It's really not that hard to learn.
And I would agree. And I think that it's interesting because sometimes the very thing that makes us, at least for me, and like you mentioned, that makes us want to step up and say things more because we are Black and African or African
Right,
American is also sometimes the thing that makes it the hardest to have those conversations because
right,
for whatever reason, homophobia also runs rampant within ours. Like for me, I feel like, hey, we face oppression, they face oppression, we should be in this together. But instead, there's this level of like, oh no, and I know a lot of it is people will, bring in their Christianity into it and their religion and things like that. But it
hmm,
does make it sometimes having that difficult conversation, especially as you mentioned, because of a lack of education
right.
around that. So, like, how do you handle those difficult conversations within our Black community specifically?
You know what? That is, even within the Black community, and I'm gonna say this again, us being Black women, they don't want to listen to us neither. They don't want to take our advice, but we have to make them hear us, right? So if we got to go to the mountains and scream it out, we have to make them listen to us and take this information that we are given. So it's a little different. It's a little tricky with that, and especially when you bring religion and stuff into it, that's like a whole nother topic right there, right? Because I don't want to get too much into religion, but for whoever that you praise, you know, God, Allah, whoever you may want to praise, but to me, God made us all who we are, and it don't matter if you're a part of the LGBT community or straight. Who can tell you that he won't love you because you are this other way, you know? But then you want to say God loves everyone, but then you want to pinpoint. You
Mhm.
can't pinpoint it. Either it is or it's not, right? So, and that's the educational part as well.
Yes.
It
Yeah.
always comes down to that. It does always come down to it.
And I think that there's a lot, sometimes we acknowledge the mental load that we carry going through this world, especially like as Black women and dealing with racism. But then there's that mental load of dealing with homophobia or
Yes.
transphobia.
Hmm.
How do you support people who sort of have to deal with both or who are at that intersection of both?
How do I support?
Mhm.
I do what we're doing right now with the I Am Me. We educate people. We have me seminars where we have each alphabet from the LGBT community on the panel, and we educate allies and even people who are not sure if they're allies, not about the community. So that's what we do. As you said, we educate. We like to bring safe spaces. And if you don't know, or if you have any questions, you could contact us. My board, we are so happy to answer questions for people who has who has questions that need to be answered. We have no problem. All you have to do is send us an email and somebody will get back to you. But my arms is always open to anyone, as long as it's not homophobic, because I don't believe in homophobic people, and what people don't realize, when you treat someone wrong, it really messes with their mental. It could cause depression, right? It could
Mhm.
cause some people to be suicidal, and that's a problem. It's a huge problem on what's going on right now, and a lot of people are being killed because of these actions and feeling these negative feelings that they are having. That's why we like to open the door and say, "Hey, come in. We are a safe space, and we want you to realize that you are loved, and just come in and be who you are. It's no judgment. This is a judgment-free zone."
Yeah, and that's one of, I think, the great things about your organization. And it's why it resonated with me the first time I, came across it. And I've been like, how can I help? Because I do think that you guys do such a great job of trying to get people to feel included, and educating, which I think is, like I mentioned, and you mentioned, a crucial part of it. Because a lot of times people just, they often don't know what they don't know, right? Like, a lot of times they don't realize that the beliefs they have, the thoughts that they have, are coming from a place of a lack of education until that is opened up to them. So I think it's so great when there are organizations that provide that education for them, and that when there are allies
Yeah.
who are able to stand up and say something. And to me, one of the reasons I always feel like allies are so important is because, as much as we wished homophobia wasn't around, it definitely is. And
It is.
racism and genderism, whatever thing that is that makes people think less of another group, whether it's their gender, their sexual orientation, their sex, their race, whatever. It's hard to get someone who doesn't respect someone for that reason to hear all the reasons why they should. It's hard to get them to open up and take in that education. But when you get someone who does meet the requirements that
Mhm.
they find acceptable, then
Right.
they're more likely to say, okay, I'll at least listen to you. So when
Right.
you come across someone who's homophobic, the chances that they'll give someone in the queer community the ability to speak to them much smaller than they will give a straight person who's like, hey, here's why I support them. And
Right.
that's why I think it's always so important when you're not part of
Mhm.
a marginalized group to be even
Mhm.
more vocal
Right.
about your support for that
Mhm.
marginalized group.
Right. And you know what? It's negativity and homophobic is all taught behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Because children they don't know what homophobic is. They don't know. They just know that they want to play and be friends with other kids. But when they have a parent or somebody around you, even friends, parents, friends, coming to you whispering negativity in your ear about other genders or other people in the community, they grow up to think this is not right. This is a horrible person. But as for me, I didn't grow up like that. I didn't grow up with any negativity in my ear telling me that these are bad people. I it was just people to me.
Right.
So, and that's why, like I said, it's taught behavior. That's why we got to step in and we got to reteach. We got to mix it up a little. We got to change it. So we have to come and reteach these people and let them know that your old thinking of negativity and homophobia is not the right way to go.
Mm-hmm.
And why are you really mad?
That part.
Let's
Yeah.
Right, let's get down to it. Why are you really mad? And I bet you they can't really tell you.
Well, something I always find so interesting around the conversation is that, going back as far as you can, right? People will talk about like their uncle with the roommate, their aunt with the best friend. So it's like people know, or like they'd use euphemism like, oh, that person has a little sugar in their tank. So
Mm-hmm.
it's not like gayness or homosexuality or any of that stuff is brand new, but for
Right.
some reason people act like, because we are now vocal about it, because we are saying, hey, those people shouldn't have to hide who they are. Like, if you already know, then why can't they be open about who they are and what they love, and just be, like you said, existing?
Mm-hmm.
And I find it so interesting that oftentimes people will say like, well, we don't want them to shove their ways down our throats. It's like,
Mhm.
well, homosexuality, or not homo, heterosexuality is shoved down our throat every which way you turn. Like from the
Right,
time someone is a child, it's like, who's your little boyfriend? Who's your little
right,
girlfriend? And you don't
right,
know the
right.
sexual orientation of that child, even though studies have shown that children from a young age know already, right? So it's interesting that instead of, and this is part of what fuels my allyship, is that like, if you can get it to be from a place of, like you said, where it's not something weird or awkward or
Mhm.
new or something being shoved down the throat, it's just like, hey, people love people, and some
Right.
people love this and some people love that, and that doesn't
Mhm.
change who they are, and
Right.
it shouldn't incite hatred for them.
It
But
should.
it's just weird to me that people will say like, oh, I don't want that shoved down my throat. But it's like, but it wouldn't feel like if it was shoved down your throat if you would just grow up thinking that that's just, it is what it is. Like
It is
the
what it
sky is
is.
blue and gay people exist. Like it is what it is,
Right,
you know?
right, right. And even with that, that goes down is a lot with society, and it can be a lot with into the church or the religion, because they make you feel like they just want. I think they want men supposed to be with women. You know what I mean? Boys wear blue, girls wear pink. It's just like it's ridiculous. They put you in a category when you're born.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as you're born, they put you in a category. They put in pink hats on the girls, blue hats. Like what? Why does that even should matter?
Right, right. And
So
it's interesting.
it's crazy.
No, and I was just gonna say it's interesting how much we're taught at a young age that certain things are like, that's just how it is, when truly it's society putting certain things on us. Like
Yeah.
there's so many things that are society based, like
Hmm.
boys not wearing skirts. Like, do you know how many like centuries and not organizations, but like centuries and cultures and things were back in the day, men wore dresses, men wore skirts, and it didn't take away
Right.
in any way, shape, or form from their masculinity. We just as a society have decided guys wear pants and girls wear dresses, and
Right.
that's just how it is. But that actually doesn't, like, there's nothing that says that doing that or what you wear impacts your sexuality or your masculinity or any of those things. But we have so many things that have been so deeply introduced into the way that we think that like, oh, this definitely means this, and it
Right.
doesn't. And so I find a large part of it is unlearning. As much as we talk about educating, we need to do a lot of unlearning of certain things to make
Yes.
room for the learning of certain things.
Yes. That's true. And like you said, men wear they say men wear the pants. So it is a masculine type of energy thing that goes on with that. So in like back in the BC or whatever, a lot of the Egyptians and stuff, they wore dresses and skirts.
Right.
And a lot of people wear kilts and stuff. Those, come on now.
Exactly.
So are they not supposed to wear that? Like, it doesn't, it's just ridiculous how society have some people thinking, and it is very contagious how they can manipulate your mind so easily,
Mm-hmm.
and it just spreads like wildfire. And
Yep.
if you don't have an open mind to realize the BS, you will get sucked in so easily.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Absolutely.
think that's the thing. You, as myself, and I'm sure you, our minds are not, we're not closed minded people.
Right.
We
Right.
see things for what it is. And that's the problem. People need to open their mind and realize that their old way of thinking is not the way to go, and they need to change. And that does affect your mental health, your physical health. It affects everything about your living. And
Mm-hmm.
then you wonder why nothing is going right for you, because you're so negative in your
Yep.
head. Like, come on, you
Yep.
have to let go of all this negative energy, all this homophobic actions, or it's just ridiculous, even down to the workplace.
Mm-hmm.
So it happens all over the place. It happens. But
Mm-hmm.
we need to change that. We need
We
to
do.
start speaking up and educating these people, and things have to be changed.
I couldn't agree more. And thank you to everybody who's joining and watching
Yes.
now. Please leave comments. If you have any questions that I haven't asked Latoya, please leave them so that we can get it for her or I, and we will get to those as well.
Right.
Um, But what about for those who want to be allies? They're like, okay, I feel this, I'm ready to speak up, or
Right.
I want to do more. Like, what's some advice you would give to other people who want to start being allies but aren't really sure where to start?
If you're not sure where to start, well, if you're in Delaware, you could come to IME. Come to our are we gonna start having the Sunday teas more often? This year we are focusing, our focus is to focus more on allies and allyship and to bring them out, to speak up more for the community. And if you are somewhere that is not where we are and you wanna help, start your own stuff. If you can't find people, like-minded people like yourself, start it yourself. Just spread the word and grow. Start educating other people. You could use our shows and share it. Share our stuff that we got going on.
Mm-hmm.
Just do that. But if you don't, they say a closed mouth don't get fed. Okay, so if you don't speak up, nothing is gonna change.
Absolutely. And we have a question coming in.
Me
Is
too.
there backlash coming from being an ally? And are you mistreated by the heterosexual community?
Um, I some people just don't understand why I am a ally, but I don't get too much backlash. Um, I don't get too much backlash, and I'm fortunate for that. But there are people out there for being an ally. They do get backlash for who they support and who they are around. But I'm so happy to say I'm very fortunate to not have gotten that backlash from the heterosexual communities. Not saying that it won't happen, but when that time come, I will face it, and I will still tell my truth and the reason why I do what I do, and nobody can change my thoughts.
Mhm. Absolutely. Well, I can't thank you enough for taking the time to come and speak with me today and share a little bit more about you and your journey to being an ally. Before I let you go, can you just tell us, finally, just what being an ally really means to you and how do you live that out daily?
A ally means to me being supportive, being that advocate, just showing love to everyone, and just doing what I'm doing right now with IME Inc. and my team. So that's what allies means to me. Allyship is just support your people and no judgment. You let people be who they are and love them for who they are.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes. What
Well,
about you, Namade?
what? I share those same sentiments. To me, being an allyship is, oh, we have another question. So, uh, I will ask the question and then I'll answer with my answer. Does it bother you heterosexual people think that you're gay hanging with the gay community?
No, it don't bother me. But they the saying is you are who you hang out with, but that is not true. Just because I hang and support the LGBT community, that does not mean that I am myself LGBT, a part of the LGBT community. But if I was, that would be my business,
Right.
So I would feel the same way.
Yeah. And
If
I don't even mind that you are who you hang out with as far as hanging out with people in that community because it's not about your race, your gender, your sexual orientation. It's about who you are as core individuals. And I have always found that members of that community are the most open, they're the most accepting, they're the most loving. Like that's why I love having friends who are, because sometimes they're more accepting and loving than people who have like rigid views of like right and wrong and aren't as inclusive. Like I'm proud to be part of a group that is that inclusive, regardless of gender, sexual orientation, race, or any of that stuff.
and when we put on our events and we get people that come in who are a part of the community, I see people that love themselves. And that's the problem. Some people don't love themselves.
Mhm.
But the people that come around us, they love themselves. And even if they having a difficult time with finding themselves, we try to bring them in and try to help them out. But you have to learn to love yourself and that's it.
Yep. Yep. I couldn't
Because
agree more.
it's all mental, because some people they get discouraged because of what's going on, but you can't worry about what other people are thinking.
Hmm.
It could hurt you, but in the end of the day, you have to really focus on yourself. We are just our own person. We have to focus on ourselves and worry about what we want to do and what makes us happy, because if we don't make ourselves happy, nobody can make us happy.
Absolutely. I can get on a soapbox about that topic for so long because I feel so strongly about it. And you are right. And yeah, I find that people who are truly happiest and who love themselves just want that for other people more
Right.
so than people who are living lives that they feel like they are expected to live and like they're supposed to live. And
Right.
I find that a lot of times people who are doing the things that are expected of them but don't necessarily bring them joy, they
Mhm.
have a hard time wrapping their minds around other people not making those same
Mhm.
sacrifices and choices. Like, well, it doesn't matter what you want. Like, this is
Mhm.
what you have to do because this is what I have to do. Versus when you find people who are like, I am living this life that feels good to me. It doesn't necessarily always look good on the outside, but it's a life that feels good to me. And that's
Right.
all I want for other people is
Right.
for them to live a life that feels good to them, regardless of what that looks like to other people. I find that those people are more accepting and are encouraging of you to do what you want versus the people who are like, well, I'm unhappy, but I'm doing what I'm supposed to. So it doesn't matter if you're happy. You need to do what you're supposed to. And I want more of the I live a life that feels good to me people
Right.
out there. Like I want everyone to just be happy regardless of like what other people think they should do. Like find your path. There's so many people,
Right.
especially in like this podcast, social media world. Everybody's telling everybody like what they should do. And I feel like everyone needs to spend more time looking inside and figure out like what actually makes you happy. Then find the person that helps you guide you to that happiness. Don't just listen to what someone else tells you you should do to be happy because that's how you end up with a lot of miserable people
Right.
spreading the misery. You know what I
It's
mean?
too much trying to please other people.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
It's too much of that going on, and we trying to please other people and not pleasing ourselves. It's a
Hmm.
problem. It's
Huge
a
problem.
problem.
Huge problem. Well, I love that I Am Me Inc. is working to solve that problem by helping
Yes.
to encourage more people to be vocal and be allies. And you mentioned, you asked me earlier like what allyship means for me, and for me that's part of it is trying to encourage people to live their version of their best lives and their version of happiness. And for me, it's not, sometimes people often say like, oh, I just want to give people a voice. Like I don't. I think everyone has a voice. I want to give people the space to share their voice and
Exactly.
encourage them to use the voices they already have because
That they
most
have.
people have that story. They have that thing they want to share. It's just letting them feel comfortable and feel okay to be vocal. So
Right.
to me, that's being a good ally. It's not that I want to stand up and shout about all the LGBTQ plus stuff. Like, no, I want them to. It's their community. I just want to help give them the space or help them
That's
know that it's okay and it's safe to use their voice,
that's right.
So thank you so much, both for being a guest, but also for helping to give this platform with
Yes.
Allied Amplify to create the space to have these conversations.
Yes. Can I just say real quick? We actually have an event coming up. It's called the Holiday Gala. Is on December the 14th. It will be at the Delaware Historical Society Museum. Just check out our website www.imecorp.org. We would love for you to come attend and just have a great time with us. And just follow our website and keep up with everything that's going on, because we have a lot of events coming up, a lot of educational and some fun events as well. I think all our events is pretty much fun, but we
Yeah.
want to educate.
Yep.
And if you're an ally, please go follow us as well, and shoot us a message and let us know that you want to get involved. You have to get involved. If you don't do something, nothing will get done. So please don't just sit there. Come get involved with IME and help, support, and put the word out.
Yes. Yes. Thank you so much. And thanks for mentioning that. Great minds think alike. I was going to mention that also. The tickets are on sale for the holiday gala. As she mentioned, it's December 14th. It'll be 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. And you can go on the website at imeinc.org to get more information about the gala, get more information about this program, and all the other great things that they do. I hope you'll join us again next week, Sundays at 6 p.m. on Inc.'s Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Next week, we'll be discussing parenting an LGBTQ plus IA child. So please join us again next week and every Sunday at 6 p.m. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for joining.
Allies Amplified is a live series by IME Inc. that highlights powerful stories of LGBTQIA plus allies.
Not only are they sharing their stories, but also their journeys and insights to foster inclusivity, support, and most of all, friendship. And now it's time to turn it over to our host.